Hi there, this is Danielle Tremblay of InsightWithAnimals.com, animal communicator, here with key number 2 today of 3 in a 3-part video series regarding how you can more effectively communicate with your own animals. So key number 1 was covered recently, which was the idea that you need to acknowledge and embrace your own intuitive abilities, even if they're underdeveloped. Okay, so key number 2 is the idea that you need to create enough quiet space in your mind in order to receive and actually listen to the information, the intuitive impressions that your animals are saying to you. Now, let's talk about the mind and humans' amazingly constant thinking capacities. So we humans tend to think constantly. And did you know that thinking actually produces thought forms? Thought forms are actually subtle, energetic pieces of energy, for lack of a better word, and these they are tangible. Okay, which is why telepathy is real and why telepathy can happen between being to being, human to animal, animal to human. It's because we can sense each other's thought forms. So in order to quiet your mind long enough in order to hear the animals, you have to stop thinking. You have to create the space in your mind in order to have the space for input from an outside source to come in. If you think of your thoughts as being like a garden hose that's constantly spraying out, because you're thinking, it produces this very strong stream of water where not much, thoughts, or in this case another beam of water, can come up easily through the one that's being produced, because your own thoughts are pretty loud in your head. So in order to sense the subtle energy of another being's thoughts coming your way, you need to turn down, and better yet turn off, your own intuitive thoughts just for long enough, less than half a second, less than a quarter of a second, it doesn't take long, in order for you to have that hose off long enough for you to receive input from an outside source. So when I teach animal communication classes, either in person or over the phone with those interested in learning via distance, one of the things I tell them is that given enough time, you're actually going to be able to sense your own thoughts versus the thoughts of an animal. And you're going to be able to tell the difference between who owns what thought. It won't happen right away, but as you develop your intuitive abilities and practice your own skills, there does eventually with time become this difference, which is very valuable when you're communicating with, say, multiple animals in a family. If there's 2 cats that aren't getting along and you're trying to figure out the point of view of each cat and what's possible between the 2 of them, you need to know which cat is saying what. So it's helpful to be able to tell who's thinking what thought. Okay? So meditation. Let me talk about that for a moment. A lot of people have the interesting point of view that you have to be able to meditate and quiet your mind or create a silent mind before you can do well in the intuitive arts in general or do well in animal communication. And I'll tell you that's not true, because that's not the path that I traveled. Meditation was not really something I experienced much of, in my life at all prior to me learning animal communication in 2005. And when I did start communicating with the animals, it was like 2008 before I found ease with being able to sit and actually meditate for 5+ minutes at a time with complete silence in my mind, to the point where it wasn't a struggle anymore internally for me to do. So I was actually communicating professionally in 2006, which means it wasn't required in order to talk with the animals. So I just like to toss it out to people because it's a common misconception that I've noticed a lot of students come to my classes and say to me. So there's that. There are actually other avenues, many of them, in which you can explore or be trained into that have nothing to do with meditation, that help you create the quiet space necessary in order to receive the intuitive impressions from the animals. So there's your key for today. I wish you the best.